Hi everybody, my name is Rupa. I am working as Assistant Professor in Chevron Engineering College in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. I am dealing the subject Renewable Energy Sources, and today's topic in that subject is maximum power. See, this is the pressure and velocity profiles of wind moving through a horizontal axis propeller type wind turbine, and here we can see the maximum power. As stated above, the total power cannot be converted into mechanical power. So only 60 to
మ్యామ్
60%.
వినిపించట్లేదు మ్యామ్.
ఇప్పుడు వినిపిస్తుందా? ఇప్పుడు వినిపిస్తుందా అమ్మా?
చాలా
Yes,
చిన్నగా
madam.
వినిపిస్తుంది.
Now can you hear?
ఓకే మ్యామ్.
Okay now.
ఓకే మ్యామ్.
So before in lessons we saw that total power cannot be converted. All the power cannot be converted into mechanical power. So what is the percentage of mechanical power it is converting? Only 60 to 65% of the total out of 100%. Only 60 to 65% maximum we can convert. Okay. So suppose if you consider a horizontal axis propeller type windmill as shown in the diagram. So for this diagram is only for horizontal axis. There will be vertical axis propeller types and horizontal axis propeller types. But in this diagram we are concentrating on horizontal axis propeller type only. So I am considering horizontal axis propeller type windmill. And in that windmill, this propeller type windmill is also we can call it as wind turbine. So this is this name horizontal axis propeller type, we can call this simplified as a wind turbine. Okay, nowadays we are calling it as wind turbine. We are not calling horizontal axis propeller type like that. Simply we are saying wind turbine. So this is the most commonly used word, wind turbine nowadays. Suppose if you assume the wheel of such turbine, okay, so this wind turbine, it is having a turbine wheel. Okay, this wheel is having a thickness A into B. Okay, thickness of A into B. See in this figure you can see A into B thickness. Okay, so I am letting that P1 here. See P1, Pi. This is A into B thickness. I am assuming that Pi and Vi are the wind pressures. Pi is the wind pressure and Vi, this is the velocity at the upstream of the turbine. Okay, this is Pi is wind pressure and Vi is velocity at the upstream of turbine. And next is Pe here, Pe. This Pe is the pressure and here Ve, it is the velocity at downstream of turbine. Okay, so Vi is velocity at upstream and Ve is velocity at downstream. And Pi are the pressures and this Pe Pi and Pe are the pressures. Vi and Ve are the velocities at up and down. Okay, next. Actually, if you observe this Ve and Vi, here, if you observe the velocities of downstream and upstream, which one is lower? This Ve is lower. Downstream Ve is lower than Vi. So Ve will be less than Vi because kinetic energy is extracted by the turbine. At first, this wind turbine is having some kinetic energy. When the wind velocity is Vi, it is having some kinetic energy. After that, at the downstream, the kinetic energy in the wind is absorbed by the turbine. That is, turbines extracts the velocity from the wind. So the velocity of the wind decreases to Ve downstream. Okay, so that's why Ve will be less than Vi. If you consider the air, incoming air between I and A, here, between I and A, as a thermodynamic system, if you are considering the between air, I and A between air as a thermodynamic system, and assuming also in second consideration, what is that? Air density will be remaining constant. Okay, we are assuming throughout the air density to be constant because changes in pressure and temperature are very small when compared to ambience. When compared to ambient temperature and ambient pressures, the calculated pressure and temperatures are also very negligible, small. So there is a little difference between the change in temperatures to ambient temperatures or change in pressures to ambient pressures. Okay, so I am considering this system. I am assuming what the incoming air between I and A, I am assuming this as thermodynamic system, and I am assuming the second consideration that air density is remaining constant. So the potential energy will be equal to 0, and potential energy 0 means there is no heat or work or added or removed between I and A. Okay, so there is no heat or work done between I and A. So the general equation will be reducing to the kinetic and energy flow terms only. So okay, so the general equation will be reduced to normal terms only. So what will be what will be the normal terms? We will see now. See, this is the equation. Thus, Pi into V plus Vi square by 2Gc is equal to Pa into V plus Va square by 2Gc. Okay, so this is the general equation for steady state flow for unit mass for a control volume. Okay, so actually this is, we are equating the both sides. Vi is equal to Va square. So after this we are getting the general equation, general energy equation for at the steady state only. Okay, not the simple state. We are creating a equation at steady state, and we are considering unit mass. M is equal to 1 unit mass for a control volume. The equation will be becoming Z1 plus V1 square by 2Z plus U plus P1 V1 plus delta Q, that is equal to both sides equating Z2 plus V2 square by 2G plus U2 and P2 V2 plus delta WSF. So these terms are explained below. See, where Z1, it is the potential energy. Okay, it is the potential energy. So when you are assuming the constant, that is between I and A, there is thermodynamic state, and we are assuming that air density will be constant throughout the section. So if you assume this, the pressure and temperature are very small when compared to ambient, so potential energy will be 0. So by taking all these assumptions, we are taking this equation, we are writing this equation. So in that, potential energy will be equal to 0 if you assume constant air density. So this is the potential energy. Z1 is potential energy, and V2 squared by 2G, it is termed as, this second term is kinetic energy, and U is internal energy. Next, P into V term, generally P into V term, it is flow energy. P1 V1 and P2 V2 are the flow energies. And delta Q, it is net heat added. Okay, by doing this action, some heat will be added, that is the net heat added, delta Q. And delta WSF, it is the net steady flow mechanism work done of the system. So what is the work done during this process? It is the mechanism, work done mechanism. Or simply we can write this equation as Pi plus rho into Va square by 2Gc is equal to Pa plus rho into Va square by 2Gc. So here in simple words, we can, in simple form, we can write this. So this is, see, this is a simple equation for this one, 6.2.7a, and this is 6.2.7b. Here where we know that V and P, rho are the volume. V is a specific volume and it's reciprocal. The density, rho is the density. Both are considered to be constant here. Similarly, for the exit region BE. Okay, so for the diagram in the exit region BE, that means at the last region, exit region, we can write the equation as PRE plus rho into VE square by 2GC is equal to PB plus rho into VB square by 2GC. So this is the exit region equation. So if you see the diagram here, if you see the diagram, the wind across the turbine decreases from A to B. Okay, the wind between A and B, the wind velocity will be reduced, because kinetic here at this place between A and B, kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy there. Okay, so between A and B, the wind velocity here, between A and B, the wind velocity is reduced from VA to VB, because here kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy. Suppose if we are taking incoming velocity Vi, if you take this, if you observe this Vi, it will be gradually decreasing. Okay, so it will be gradually decreasing from Vi point to Va point. So actually when Vi decreases from Vi to Va, it gradually decreases. If you observe this, as it approaches the turbine Va. So Vi will be decreasing gradually as it approaches Va, and as it leaves it to Ve, and again this Vi will be becoming Vi is equal to Ve at exit. Okay, so here we can assume some conservation such that Vi is greater than Va, right? Vi is greater than Va and Vb is greater than Ve. Again here similarly, where Vi will be gradually reducing to Va, here also Vb will be gradually reducing to Ve. So Vb will be greater than Ve. And from the discussed equations 6.2.7 and 6.2.8, we can say that Pi is greater than Pb and Pb will be greater than Pi. Okay. Here from the equations we can say if you compare these two, Pi is greater than Pi and Pb is greater than Pi. So here if you see these equations, we can say that wind pressure rises as it approaches, then as it leaves the wheel. Okay, so as it approaches, the wind pressure increases, and as it leaves also, at the exit also, the wind pressure will be increasing. Here the wind velocities are decreasing and here the wind pressures are increasing. In both the cases, VI will be gradually decreased to VA and VB value will be gradually decreased to VE. Here PI will be gradually increased to PA and PB will be gradually increased to PE. Here increasing nature we can observe and here decreasing natures we can observe in velocities. So if you combine both the equations, next equations, these 6.2.7 and 6.2.8, this is 6.2.8, this equation. 6.2.8. So if you combine both 6.2.7 and 6.2.8 equations, we will get 6.2.9 we will get. So PA minus PB is equal to PI plus rho into VI square minus VA square by 2GC minus of PE plus rho VE square minus VB square by 2GC. Okay, so here we are assuming, we can see the equation that we can see in the diagram that we are assuming the wind pressure at E exit point is to be ambient, is assumed to be ambient. So we can, from this equation we can say PE is equal to PI. Okay, and if you compare the blade width also A into B, the blade width is taken A into B, it is very thin. Okay, so the whole turbine, if you compare the AB width with the length of diameter of the turbine or wheel of the turbine, when it is compared, it is very thin compared to total distance. Okay, so it can be assumed that velocity within the turbine does not change much due to this assumption. So we can simplify this equation by writing VA is approximately equal to VT and VB is approximately equal to VT. Okay, so combining the equation, this two equations, 6.2.9 and 6.2.11, we can say that PA minus PB is equal to rho into VI square minus VE square by 2GC. And the axial force working on the horizontal, we are taking the horizontal axis propeller type. So the axial force will be called as Fx. Okay, so the axial force in the direction of the wind stream only, we are taking on the turbine wheel with the projected area perpendicular to the stream area A. So we are taking the force, axial force Fx in terms of area, projected area. It is given by Fx is equal to PA minus PB into A. So if you substitute this value of PA minus PB value in this equation, so rho into A into this one, VI square minus VE square by 2GC. Okay, so this force is also equal to change in momentum of wind from Newton's second law. Okay, so force is equal to every second reaction. Some force is what the force is acting is equal to change in reaction. So the reaction is here change in momentum of the wind. So from this we can write force is equal to, actually force general formula is this one, Fx is equal to delta mv by gc, where here m is the mass flow rate. So m can be written as rho into A into Vt. If you substitute the m value in this force equation, so 1 by gc as usual we are writing, in place of m we are writing rho A Vt, Here V is equal to Vi minus Ve, difference of the velocities. Okay, so Vi minus Ve. So equating equations 6.2.13 and 14, these two equations. Equating, these two are forces only, axial forces only. So these two terms, left hand side equations we are equating. So rho here, this is the first equation written here, rho A into Vi square minus Ve square by 2gc, and second equation 1 by gc, rho AV Vt into Vi minus Ve. So finally we get V half sorry, Vt is equal to half Vi plus Ve. Okay, so if you, this is the equation if you are considering the total thermodynamic system, and it is this thermodynamic system is bounded by I and E. Initially I and exit E. And in this thermodynamic system which is bounded between I and E, we assume that there are no changes in potential energy and there are no changes in internal energy. That is Ti to Te, there is no change, and flow energy change is there from PIV to PEV. Okay, flow energy change Pi to PV. Sorry, PIV to PE. Okay, initial PI, exit PE. So in this system, no heat is added or rejected. That is called as if there is a condition that the system does not adds any heat or rejected, that means it is stable, it is called as adiabatic flow. Okay, so if a system has no change in heat, whether it does not absorbs or it does not rejects, it will be staying constant. This is called as adiabatic flow. So the general equation, energy equation, it reduces to steady state flow work W and kinetic energy in terms of this one. Okay, so W is equal to initial kinetic energy minus exit kinetic energy. So Vi square minus V square by 2Gc. This is the general energy equation we are saying for a steady flow work W and kinetic energy. Okay, so here the power is defined. Actually, power definition, we know that it is defined as rate of work. So from the mass flow rate equation, we can say power is P is equal to M into Vi square minus Ve square by 2Gc. So if you substitute the M value here, half into what we see the previous equation, M value. So if you substitute the M value which is in previous slide, you will get 1 by 2Gc, M value rho A Vt, half Vi square minus V square. So this one gets cancelled and remaining we will get 1 by 2Gc rho A Vt, Vi square minus V square. So combining these two equations with equation 15. So 15 just we will see previous slide. This is the 15th equation. Vt is equal to half Vi plus Ve. So if you combine these two equations, you will get the 15th equation. See this one, 15th equation, we will get P is equal to total power is equal to 1 by 4Gc rho A Vi plus Ve, Vi square minus Ve square. So this is the final equation after combining. So from this we have to calculate, this is the power equation, and from this we have to calculate the maximum power. So for this calculation, maximum power should be derived with something. So we will see this process. So if you observe this equation 17 here, equation 17, if you observe, remember this. So equation 17 reverts to equation 6.22 equation, second equation for P total. Okay, so second equation, in second equation we have derived some P total. So this reverts, this 17th equation will be reverting, means going back to second equation when Vt is equal to Vi. And second assumption, Ve is equal to 0. That is, Ve is equal to 0 means that is wind velocity reduces to 0 after leaving the turbine. So when the wind strikes the turbine, it extracts, the wind turbine extracts the kinetic energy from the wind, and remaining wind velocity will be reduced once it leaves the turbine. So this is not possible because wind cannot accumulate at turbine exit, because a wind cannot accumulate any energy at the exit turbine. It is not possible. So if you observe the equations 18 here, this one 6.2.18, where V is positive, see where here if you observe this equation, VE is positive in one term and VE is negative. This is negative term of VE and this is positive term of VE. So this results, this is the significance that it is too high or too low value. So this too high of V and too low of V, it results in reduced power. Okay, so this manner, this characteristics of VE, it will reduces the power. Power will be reduced. So exit, if you see the exit VE, this also results in low and high powers. So if you consider this VE term for maximum power, it can be obtained, maximum power can be obtained with this term only, with this VE term only, because this is too high and too low sometimes. So this is the changing term. So if you derive this P value with this VE term, we can get the maximum power. So for this, I am derivating the P term with VE. So the maximum power P maximum is dP by dVE, and if you make it equal to 0, this derivative term, we will get the maximum power as we know. Okay, so I am derivating the power equation with VE and making it equal to 0. So what will we generate after derivating means 1 by 4 GC, it is a constant term, it will be 0, and the remaining is, see here, rho into A, this is also a constant term, and remaining will be, we are getting 3VE square plus 2VIVE minus VI square is equal to 0. So if you derivate this term, only this term, these are remaining or constants. So we will get 3VE square plus 2VIVE minus VI square is equal to 0. This is solved for VE, positive VE. Okay, so here we solve this because the quadratic has two solutions, that is VE is equal to VI and VE is equal to 1 by 3 VI. Only the second solution is physically acceptable. This is physically acceptable. If you make this one, the total term will be equal to 0. So we are taking this term, VE is equal to VE optional is equal to 1 by 3 VI. So using this equation 6.2.8 for an ideal wind machine with horizontal axis, we can get P maximum is equal to 8 by 27 GC rho A VI cube. Okay, here just we are giving VE is equal to 1 by 3 VI. Okay, so we can get this equation. And that is equal to 1 by 8, 8 by 27 GC rho A VI cube can be equal to 16 by 27 GE, half into rho A VI cube. So this can be written as, if you write this 8 by 27 GE as 16 into 1 by 2. I am making 8 as 16 into 1 by 2. So 2 here 8 comes. So that 8 I am writing in the form of 16 by 2. Okay. So that we can get the mass equation here. Okay. So P total equation, if you see in previous, you will get this one. Sorry. See here, half 2GC like that. See, half rho A VI cube by GC. So if you consider this 16 by 27, in that 27 I can make it as this form, 0.593 into half. I can make it as, I can write it as 0.593 into half. Okay, so 16 by 27 I can write it as 0.593 into half. Rho A VI cube by G is transferred to inner GC. That is GE only, not GC, GE only. Printing is not correct there. GE only here. So we can write half into rho VAI cube by GE as P total, total P. Okay, so that is 0.593 P total. The equation becomes 0.595 or 593. Little bit slight variation is there. We can write anything, 0.593 or 595 P total. So P maximum is equal to 0.595 P total. So if you see this, the ideal or maximum theoretical efficiency in eta maximum, it is also called as power coefficient. So this power coefficient is discussed in before slides only. So this is, if you take ideal or maximum theoretical efficiency in eta maximum, this is called power coefficient. This power coefficient of a wind turbine, it is the ratio of maximum power obtained from the wind to the total power available in the wind. So this factor, what we are getting here, 0.593, this factor is called as Betz coefficient. It is known as Betz coefficient. So this Betz coefficient, it is derived from the name who first derived it. Okay, Betz derived it, BETZ. Betz derived the coefficient first. So they named this coefficient after his first derivation, deriving the Betz as Betz coefficient. It is the maximum fraction of the power in the wind stream that can be extracted. Okay, what is Betz coefficient means? It is the maximum fraction of the power. So maximum amount of the power that can be extracted from the wind stream, it is called as Betz coefficient. So power coefficient CP is called as power output from the wind machine by power available in the wind. Okay, so from this we can conclude that CP is power coefficient. So this power coefficient is CP, nothing but. We can abbreviate it as CP. So this, from this, if you observe that this CP coefficient cannot exceed the Betz coefficient 0.593 for a horizontal axis wind machine. So all this we are giving for horizontal axis wind type, propeller type machine only, not for vertical. Next one is, this is the maximum power until we have covered. Next one is, what are the different types of forces on the blades and thrust on the turbines? Thrust means nothing but pressure. So see, if you see the earlier discussions, we have discussed about the blades of propeller type wind turbine. Okay, this is one type of wind turbine, propeller type. Wind turbines are different types. One of the type we are taking is propeller type. So here blades of propeller type wind turbine are considered, and next further discussions are also going on this propeller type wind turbine only. Actually, there will be two forces acting on the blades. First one is commercial force and second one is axial force. So this commercial force is acting in the direction of wheel rotation that provides the torques. Okay, commercial force is acting in the direction. In what direction? Same wheel rotation direction only. which provides the torque. This is called as commercial force. And second one is axial force. This axial force is acting. This axial force is acting in the direction of wind stream that provides an axial thrust that must be counteracted by the proper mechanical design. So this is defined as the counteracted force. Axial force is called as counteracting force. Okay, so this provides an axial thrust which is counteracted by the mechanical design. So what the design we are taking, it is acting opposite to the counteracting to the mechanical design what we are taking. This is called as axial force. So the circumferential force or torque, it can be obtained from, actually torque is equal to power by work, angular velocity of the turbine wheel. We know that. In previous sections, in previous classes also, we know that T is equal to P by omega. So omega is pi d, and again we can write omega, angular velocity of the turbine wheel, in meters per second. We can write pi into d into n. So if you substitute this pi into d into n in torque equation, T is equal to P by pi dn, where T is torque in newtons or kgf. Okay, and here d is the, in this the omega is equal to pi dn, here d is the diameter of the wheel turbine. So this diameter is root of 4 by pi into a meters, and n is the wheel revolutions per unit time. Per unit time, how many revolutions the wheel is rotating. This is given by n. So the real efficiency neta is equal to P by P total. P is normal efficiency, P total is efficiency.